Welcome to First Time Dads, Diehard fans. My name is Tim Bear, and on the other end of the Zoom machine, I have my good friend Nick Prosey. Nick?
Yo, let's go Blue Jays. We got live baseball, Timmy. You can't beat it.
Yes, we do.
You can't
We
beat
do.
it.
I know. Now it finally feels like summer.
Doesn't it?
Even
That's
though
why I started
even though it's been close to 100 degrees here, still hasn't. Now it actually feels like summer because we got baseball.
And that's why I just started my yard work for the first time. I figured
Go.
my theory is I always wait until baseball's on. So let's hope there's never a baseball strike or my yard's in trouble.
Yes. Yeah. Better late than never, I guess.
That's right.
With that. But yeah, so we'll definitely get into that. If you're just joining us, this is your first time, this is a podcast where we talk about fatherhood and we talk about sports. Those two things. First half, normally talk about fatherhood. Nick's wife is pregnant and she's in the third trimester. So she's got about 2.5 months left, 2 months left.
Yeah, mid-October. So we got August, September, and we're going to the end of July. So 2.5 months.
Yeah. So exciting stuff. I have a son. He's about a month and a half old. And so we talk about that kind of stuff. And so yeah, if you're a father or a parent or an expectant parent, or a sports fan, this is the place to be. So
this is the place to be. AK, speaking of, not MLB quality, but Danny Jansen of the Toronto Blue Jays just had another home run.
Wow! All right.
Yeah, but this is not MLB Network.
That's right. Yeah, that's exciting. Good to see the Jays doing stuff. Not off to the greatest start, but
no,
had a couple of rough ones, but we'll get into that in the sports portion.
That's right.
So Nick, how was your time at the cottage?
It was good. Rented a cottage up in Aurelian, so just north of Toronto. My family and I celebrated my 30th birthday. It was all my siblings and their significant others, I guess. And it was fun. It was great to wake up and see the sunrise over a lake every morning. Can't beat it. You really can't, at least in my opinion. It was good. It was a lot of fun. How about yourself? How was your week?
Things are going pretty good. Just basic standard, caring for a child. And working on my schoolwork as much as I can. I'm preaching at my church on Sunday. So I've been preparing for that. I'm excited to be able to do that. And then we're also getting ready to move.
Good.
Very soon.
So now when's your first service again with Laura and Ethan and Sir in audience?
That hasn't happened yet. So we're trying to, so they might be able to make it. They're still not too sure yet. We're not too sure about when we're going to have them come to church.
Yeah.
Just because right now we're at about 50% capacity due to state laws.
Right.
People have to wear a mask and such. And so we're just trying to be wise and trying to be safe with the newborn and with Laura. We'll see. There might be an audience, but if not, they'll be able to watch it over Facebook Live. So
nice.
They do that as well. So they'll at least be able to see me. And then we're moving on August 11th. Pack everything up on August 11th and then head down to Kentucky on August 12th. So lots going on.
Watch out. John Calvary. Someone's coming.
Right.
That's right.
Yep. Nick, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about hospital restrictions. So when
Yep.
my son was born, there were various restrictions put in place for us. I mean, one was we couldn't have any visitors. It was just Laura and I.
Yep.
We had to wear our masks until Laura's COVID test came back. And when it came back positive, we were able to take our masks off. If it came back negative, we would have had to wear our masks throughout the whole thing.
Right.
Um,
Flip that. Comes back. If it comes back negative, you take it off. Comes back positive, you wear it through the whole thing. Side note.
oh, right. Yep, that is correct. Yep, I just flipped the
That's right.
positive with the negative there.
You're checking if I was paying attention. I get you.
Exactly. Yeah. So just remember, don't when you're trying to charge a car, don't put the positive one on the negative and the negative one on the positive. Remember that. Your positive is positive and your negative is negative.
That's right.
But yeah, thanks, Nick. Nick is our resident healthcare professional.
Well, I'm a physiotherapist assistant. That's as far as it goes.
Technically,
I work in a hospital.
Yeah, technically, yeah. So anyway, yeah, and I was talking to my friend Cameron, who you know, Nick, and he was sharing. His wife is pregnant and is due to give birth in September, I think, mid-September. So he had the meeting with some of the people in their hospital, which is in New Jersey. And so he was just sharing some of the restrictions, they have to deal with. For instance, neither of them, I mean, obviously the pregnant woman wouldn't normally be able to anyway, but he won't be able to leave the hospital room at all.
Oh, the room.
Right, the room. And
okay.
They both have to wear masks the whole time, whether or not the COVID test comes back, negative.
Negative or positive. Right. Yeah. Yes, right. Comes back. Yeah.
Negative, yeah. So yeah, just a lot more restrictions, than we had to deal with. What are some of the restrictions that you'll have to deal with?
So I can't leave the floor that the birthing unit's on, or the maternity ward. So I'm allowed in, once again, no visitors. So like Becca's mom, for example, can't come into the room. Like she can't be in there at all. Unlike most families, I guess, the mother's side usually does, or at least I've heard, usually comes into the room. So no, it's just Becca and I are allowed in the room. And the mask things will have to enter the hospital wearing masks, as we do now anyways. And I believe if I'm on the floor, I have to wear a mask. But if I'm in the room and it's just Becca and I, and we're both negative, I don't have to wear masks. Now, I'm going off per my hospital I work at now. We are not having the baby at that hospital. We're having ours in Coburg, Ontario, versus we work in Belleville, Ontario. They're a difference of 45-minute difference. It's just this other hospital is closer to us. Right. So I'm going off that thing, but I'm pretty sure they're all similar.
Okay.
Yep. And then no tours. So most people want to go for a tour before they have the baby and get prepped.
Right.
There's none of that. So we'll have to do it kind of virtually over online to go see. But I personally know the Coburg Hospital well, as my nieces and nephew have been born in it. So I'm good that way. But yeah. Nothing too crazy. I can't leave the floor. So if I want food, Becca as a patient will obviously be served. I won't be served as a patient. So I'll have to make sure in my to-go bag, I better get ready to pack things.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
Right. Because I can't leave the floor to get food, and the hospital's not going to feed me while I'm there. Yeah. So that's one thing we have to. No one knows how long they're going to be there. Usually, pretty guess, and they want to send you home within 24 hours nowadays. Like, or at least here, they're trying to get you within 24 hours due to COVID. So some snacks or something to snack on and eat, but That should not be my least of all worries. That should the least of all worries, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah. So you can walk the floor, but you can't like leave the floor at all.
Yeah.
Like you can't leave the hospital at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to stay on the maternity floor.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's more restrictive than we had to deal with. I shared before on this how I was able to go to the cafeteria and get some good chicken tenders, quesadillas and such down there. And also was able to go and
watch some sports.
I was able to do that, and I was in the middle of the night. I was able to go on a food run to Burger King, I think it was.
Right.
And
interesting,
yeah,
eh?
It's funny
that was in the middle of the peak of it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And now we're at the bottom of it, and the restrictions and everything tightened up a little more. But obviously, the more you tighten up, the better things get. I guess you could think, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
It is interesting. At the end of the day, I understand why they wouldn't want you to leave the hospital, because it's like, I could go and hang out with people.
That's right.
Who have COVID and then bring it back in. So yeah,
staff, baby, and wife and mother. Yeah. No, I get it for sure.
I understand that. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these seem a little harsh, like with Cam just, not being able to leave the room at all, having to wear a mask the entire time. Like, you'd think they would be able to do the COVID test, determine that they don't have it, and then they'd be able to take it off. But I guess such is life. And of course, New Jersey was one of the hardest hit states.
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing I think they're doing better with it now than they were, but I'm sure they're on high alert.
Yeah.
And nowadays there's a lot of restrictions as far as, because there's some states that are very much still, hotbeds for the virus. So like a lot of the states up here in the Northeast and the mid-Atlantic have said, basically that they're not going to let travelers from those states come into our states up here, or they have to quarantine for 14 days when they get in there, and just stay there for 14 days and stuff like that. So
that is like that. That's like that now.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
So if we leave provinces, so if I go to Quebec or if I go over to Manitoba, and those are like our neighboring provinces. If I go there, as per work, I have to quarantine 14 days unpaid. Doesn't matter if I have vacation to use.
Unpaid. Wow.
Yeah. So they've told us, if you leave the province,
that's on you. Yeah.
That's on me, regardless of your sick time, vacation time. And we're unionized, so it's not like the union, so it's unpaid if you leave the province. So you can travel Ontario, you just can't leave Ontario.
That's interesting.
I can't, and I still can't travel across the border, but really no one's supposed to begin with. People are, but you're not supposed to.
So could you say, would you be able to travel to a different province just, for whatever reason right now? Like, say you wanted to take a flight to Calgary.
Yeah, I can.
You would be able to do that? Okay.
Yeah. I just my work song is that we can't.
Right. Gotcha.
Because I don't know if it's because I work at the hospital or just my Pacific hospital said that, but I feel like it's more hospitals have said that than anything. Yeah. But yeah, if I want to get in the car, if I wanted to get in a plane, I can fly to Calgary, BC, Alberta. Oh, I guess that's Calgary, but keep going. I could. You are allowed to travel within Canada, but they still recommend 14-day quarantine. Masks to be worn, but masks are not mandatory. So if I want to go to Walmart, there's big signs saying please wear your mask.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
The gas stations, Tim Hortons. all that.
Yeah, that's interesting because I know, for instance, here in Maryland, I think it's a state law where you have to wear a mask if you're in a building, in a store or in a restaurant, anything like that.
Right.
But even some companies like Walmart, McDonald's did say throughout the whole nation that you have to wear a mask to enter those places.
Right, regardless of state laws.
Yeah, that's right. Regardless. So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, I definitely guess that's probably why there's a difference between the, Canada and the U.S. is, the coronavirus is more prevalent in the U.S. than in Canada. So that's probably why.
Yeah, it's just also population is the biggest thing, but our rules versus their rules it's surprisingly a lot different. We're still limited to our area, or you could say even Eastern Ontario, is you could say could be COVID free for a good miles or kilometer stretch, and we can't still have more than 50 people in a building at a time in a closed building, and you can't have no more than 100. We're still big time limited, so we're not even there's still places that haven't even opened, like casinos, for example. Casinos aren't allowed to, or are allowed to open but aren't opening just because they said 50 people is not worth it, because then you got to includes staff and restaurant workers. By the time you take those numbers out, you're not bringing in many visitors. So there's places that have said it's not worth us opening. We will lose money or won't get. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yep, that's the times we're living in.
The times we're living in.
Yeah. So how's Becca feeling?
Good. Back pain to max. I don't know if that was pretty common with Laura. It seems like she complains of Jurassic back pain. So we went to go look for a pregnancy belt today. We couldn't find one. So next step obviously is, but clearly you have something in the belly front area that your lower back's not used to carrying around.
Oh yeah.
So so right now she rests a lot when she gets home from work. And she has her job requires her to stand a lot during the day, so that doesn't help either.
Yeah.
But seems that she's been sitting a lot more when she can at work.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the back pain was definitely a big thing with Laura. So
now did Laura wear a pregnancy belt? Some sort of belt to help with the support?
No, she didn't. Yeah.
No.
But and as far as what's on your baby registry and what you still need to get, and how's that going? Have you pretty much gotten everything, or are you still gonna add some stuff?
We're still looking at the baby monitors, as I was talking about last week.
Okay.
I wanted to hear what Jared had to say on that. And then the big stuff is kind of out of the way. The stroller's done, car seat's done. We only have one car seat right now. That would be good for an infant, so a newborn, I should say. But regardless, there's not going to be times where at least we can't picture where Becca's not coming with us, right? It's never going to be the times where we're going to be separated through the early stages. As Becca's off, Becca will be off for the year. So regardless if we're going somewhere, it's going to be the three of us, and Becca's got to be there kind of for the feeding to begin with anyways. So we still got to get a second car seat and base, but that's usually later down the road.
Yeah.
And and then we still got to paint and decorate the room. But other than that, the big stuff are purchased.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Did you guys have everything? Did you guys have everything done up to date? Oh no, that's right. You guys are going as you go. That's right, because you guys got a big move coming. So you guys actually have to do more later. That's right.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, I don't know. We still have. I mean, we have most things. We got the crib. We got, which is actually just a pack and play.
Yep.
So yeah, we have most things. But yeah, we'll figure out. I mean, as he gets older, we'll probably need some more stuff, or might need a little more space.
And
But,
here's an interesting question for you. Ethan, you came up with Ethan. Did you guys pick Ethan beforehand? Was it a process? Was it something you have always said, my firstborn boy will be Ethan, or how'd that come along?
yeah, it was, I mean, yeah, probably a while ago, even before, Laura was pregnant or anything. We just, sat and talked a little bit about baby names. We looked up some baby names.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted a name from the Bible.
Yep.
So one of them that came up was Ethan, and James. James is his middle name, and so yeah, they both just came up, and I was like, yeah, I really like those names. I like how they sound together, and then also the meaning. So Ethan means strong,
Right.
so it's pretty good meaning there.
Sure, just fantastic meaning.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much how it went. It wasn't like, it wasn't like I always wanted, this name, but just through, looking at names, it was something that just came up pretty quick. I was like, yeah, and
Right.
Laura, it took her a little bit longer to kind of be won over to the name. It took her a little while, but eventually she was like, those are good names. I like those.
Yep.
So
I mean, they don't have to be the same child. But you're right, though. 100%. There's been names that Beck and I have thrown out there, or she's like, I shouldn't say dead set, but loves them. And I was like, oh, I know that guy from high school or college, or I had a patient that came through with that name, and yikes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works. It could be the perfectly good name, but just you just have it connected with somebody in your brain, and it's like, yeah, totally ruins a name for you.
100%.
Funny how that works. So how's the name search going for you guys?
I think we've got it narrowed down to 3 names, I would say.
Okay.
But like even that, a new one pops up, and but it is interesting. It is definitely a game. It's a game. It's a hard name. It's a hard thing to do, because you shouldn't say you're stuck with it, but it's usually pretty set.
Right. Yeah.
Usually, people do change their names throughout their life, but
that's true.
Ideally, it's set.
Yeah, that's right. Once it's on the birth certificate, that's pretty much
always there.
Yeah,
it's definitely always there. You can change it, but your birth certificate will always be known as Ethan James Bear.
Yeah, that's
for
right.
Example.
Kind of a funny story. So my mom and dad were sharing a story with us. I think it was it may have been my grandmother or my great grandmother. I can't remember who. But when she was born, it was written on the birth certificate the wrong date for her birthday. So she kept trying to get it changed, but the government just wouldn't change it. They just said, no, this is the date that's on it. You can't change it. It's done. And she was like, no, that's the wrong date. And so so they were joking, so she got to have 2 different birthdays every so not bad. But yeah, kind of funny thing is, once it's on the birth certificate, sometimes it's tough to change it.
Even if it's literally the wrong birthday.
Right, yeah.
I was not born on that day. Like, there was no such thing as, I was already 4 days old, for example.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So as you guys have been kind of looking at different names, is there like a certain criteria that you guys are going through as far as what's a good name, or is it just just kind of as names come to you, you just think about whatnot?
As names come to us, and I think like everybody, every family, we think of what can that name turn into.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can ever think of all possibilities. People are too clever, and names change as we get older in the meaning of them.
Right.
But I would say it's just as names come for the most part.
Yeah.
With us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I know someone I worked with, his daughter, I think it was like on their way to the hospital, they were listening to the radio and like a certain name came up and they're like, oh, okay, that's a good name. Well, name her that name. It's like, oh, all right.
There you go.
I guess it can come to you anytime.
That's right. There's been a few names that have popped up. I've liked them. And then I don't even tell someone and they'll mention that name and they're like, oh, this name sounds like a dog's name, for example. And I was like, are you kidding me? So cross that one off the list.
Sounds like a dog. Yeah, that's funny because I mean, there's so many different dog names. Like people just name dogs after humans, like
that's right,
all the time.
Well,
so yeah,
we did. Like my dog's name's Finley.
So right. Yeah, that's true.
I am a downfall of naming your dog after a human. So
yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, I guess my dog Tucker. I mean, there are people named Tucker. For instance, Tucker Carlson from Fox News.
Tucker was one of our names at first.
Okay, yeah, it's a good name.
But see, it is a good name.
It is.
You wouldn't have named your dog if it wasn't a good name.
That's right. Well, I didn't actually name Tucker. Tucker was named long before I came into the picture. But
right, fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah, it's that's a good one. Yeah. So, any other fatherhood topics you want to bandy about on this lovely Monday evening?
Nothing burning in the back of my head this week. I'm still waiting to hear Jared on his opinion, but we'll find that out soon.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get him on here.
Yeah.
Pretty soon. So, yeah, we have a lot to cover on the sports side of things. Things are happening.
Things are happening.
Breakneck speed. Mentioned the start of the Major League Baseball season.
Yep.
That's exciting. And I did see news last week that the Blue Jays at the last minute decided they would be playing their home games in Buffalo.
Yes.
Do you know like a little bit about how that came about? Because I know they were hoping Pittsburgh would work out, but that eventually got nixed by the state of Pennsylvania.
Which is ironic. So Buffalo, obviously it started off with the federal government not allowing Major League Baseball players travel in and out without quarantining. They're allowed to come in. Like they were never said you weren't allowed in, but realistically you can't come in without quarantine for 14 days. And it just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't work when you're only here for 3 days. So then they got an agreement with Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh, or I shouldn't say city. The two teams agreed that Toronto would play their home games in Pittsburgh at PNC Park.
Yeah.
But then they had to wait for approval from the state. The health ministry of Pennsylvania said no. Then they went to Baltimore, and I thought they had an agreement with Baltimore, so I don't know if the state of Maryland had then said no. And then it all led back to what everyone thought was option one, was Buffalo.
Yeah.
And now they're officially in Buffalo, but there's, like, for example, we're playing Washington tonight, and we're in Washington for 2 days, and we're supposed to go home to Toronto for 2 days. Yeah. We're supposed to be home for 2 days, which they're going to stay in Washington for 4 days now.
Right.
But obviously the last two games, Toronto will just bat second. They'll act like a home team. I'm assuming they won't switch dugouts because that's just, it's Washington's home personal dugout. But so it's just ironic that Pittsburgh, to start it all off, declined Toronto or the health and safety of Pennsylvania partially because of Tampa Bay Rays and Miami Marlins being on Toronto's schedule, would come through Miami or through Pittsburgh, and they're like, we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't need to bring that more risk into our state.
Wow.
But the Philadelphia Phillies are in the same division as the Miami Marlins, and they also play the Tampa Bay Rays Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah. So it's just ironic that they said no for this reason, but the same reason Philadelphia, which is also part of Pennsylvania, has the same teams. And then what came upon this morning too, like 11 or 10 Miami Marlins players tested positive playing in Philadelphia.
Wow, I had no idea.
It's just the Marlins now have had 10 or 11 players test positive within the last 24 hours or 48 hours. Within the 48 hours for sure.
So do they know how they got COVID?
No, half of them, at least 5 or 6 of them I read that were asymptomatic. They were the first 4 or 5 that were declared positive, but they were all asymptomatic. And then 6 more were positive, but nothing talked about them, symptoms or no symptoms, but still 6 more on top of 4 is 10. At least 10 players or 10 players and coaches were positive. Wow. I just know that I also read this morning that they were looking for external players looking to sign contracts. They're on a search to field. Yeah. They canceled 2 games today because of it. One team affected 2 games. So obviously Miami's series against, I don't know who, not the Yankees. I don't think it was the Yankees got canceled. Then the Yankees then were coming into Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. But because it was in Philadelphia, they had to clean that ballpark out. So they're not going to play the game. They had to do some protocol. And then whoever Miami was playing, they canceled because of, Miami being positive. So it's just ironic that the Blue Jays, it all ties back to Toronto not being able to play in Pennsylvania because of Miami, and then Miami kind of shut down Pennsylvania for baseball.
Yeah,
sucks.
I mean that's really, really tough. I know I was reading a piece about it. It seems like a big reason was that county where Pittsburgh is has had a lot more COVID cases as well lately.
Oh, really?
So I think that factored in the decision. But then, I wasn't really sure what happened there with Baltimore because I was reading a piece the day before they made the decision to go with Buffalo. They were in talks with Baltimore. So apparently, last I heard, basically the Jays had started talking with the Orioles about it, but the Orioles hadn't made a decision yet. So it didn't even have the chance to go to the state yet.
Okay. So maybe I misunderstood that one.
Yeah. So maybe they were just taking so long that Jays were like, okay, we have to make a decision.
Yeah.
But it just seems strange because I didn't hear anything definitive out of Baltimore, saying that no, the Jays can't do it because last I heard it didn't even get to the state yet, the state level. But
right, and I wonder, there was reasons like Toronto didn't have to. There was things like I understand why Toronto not wanting to go to Buffalo because you got to upgrade the lighting, you got to upgrade the replay systems and the cameras, and I get that, but who pays for that? I wonder. Obviously, the Blue Jays benefit from it, but then long-term, Buffalo, the park benefits it from it.
That's true.
Right? And it's not like – I know that's our AAA ballpark, but that's not like we own them. That's more of a contract, right?
Right, like a
AAA
partnership.
base. Yeah. It's just we'll use your team. You collect all, like, I don't think you get the ticket sales. Like, I'm highly at the Blue Jays. I know there is some ticket sales, but last year's and future ticket sales don't go to the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, they go to the Buffalo Bison owner, I would assume.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they're going to pay to renovate their personal ballpark, or someone else's personal ballpark, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, it's a good question. I wonder if they're going to kind of split it 50-50,
Right.
or if, Major League Baseball as a whole kind of chips in there.
That's right.
Being like, it kind of sucks what happened to you, Toronto not being able to play in your own city and whatnot. That's not the Jays' fault.
No, that's
right.
right.
It's interesting. I don't know how they figure that stuff out.
And then there was a couple of series that they had to move to the away park. So, like, there's for example, I don't think the Jays actually get to call their home Buffalo until 2 weeks from now. It's like, so they were supposed to, once, like I said, they were supposed to play in 2 days in Buffalo, but then now that was moved, staying in Washington. And then even that, they go back on the road, but when they're supposed to go back home again, they moved like 2 or 3 series against there's a couple series that they moved back to the home park, to the away park. So if they're playing the Orioles, they're going to stay in Baltimore. They're going to go to Baltimore and actually just play Baltimore in Baltimore, but as the home team. I don't know. I bet you. Well, the Jays are going to have a lot of games where they're not actually in Baltimore or in Buffalo. There's not that many, as many as the other teams, obviously.
Yeah.
So definitely a disadvantage, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's not an advantage.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good at least that they're able to call a certain city home. And it's kind of their own city, for the duration. It's
where it'd be a secondary home that fans travel to or flock to, the Blue Jay flocks, is Seattle. Seattle would be a good spot to go play. I know there's no
That's
fans,
right, yeah.
Regardless, and it is definitely a different time zone. But that's where you could use a day game and night game, because, well, their day games are almost our night games anyways. The 3-hour difference, right?
Yeah, that's true. And Seattle. Lots of just as a segue, we can talk about Seattle's newest sports team here in a bit.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, I was just to touch on baseball a little bit longer. I was watching some games on Saturday. Fox had a triple header.
Nice.
Just being able to watch baseball, man, is just wonderful.
It really is.
It's just, it feels really nice.
It feels like summer.
It does.
No.
It does. So it's been great being able to finally watch some of that stuff. Big news coming out of Seattle. The newest NHL franchise. They finally have a name. They finally have a logo. They finally have a color scheme.
I like it.
The Kraken.
I would
Release
rather
the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. I like the logo. I like the color scheme. I like the jersey. I like their secondary logo. It's an anchor.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tip of the anchor is the Seattle Tower. Correct me what the Seattle Tower is called, but it's just it's a
Space Needle.
It's a Space Needle. I like it. What was that one logo? What was the one team name they were going to call it? That was like the second almost. It was Kraken, or it was something else.
Was it the Metropolitans?
No, it was another sea creature. It was good, but there was already a hockey novel on that. Ironic. It was it was a love story. It was a hockey love story that this person happened to steal the name from it. Like they wrote
really?
they wrote it like 10 years ago, let's say, but they call them the Seattle Blanks. And obviously they have copyrighted that name. And I can't say that was a reason of blocking it, but I bet you that was probably a hurdle that you had to go through. But Seattle Kraken is a nice name. I like it.
Yeah.
Release the Kraken.
Yeah, for sure. I like the S. I like the kind of subtle,
looking.
like the little tentacle and the eye in it. And it's
Yeah.
also kind of a nod back to the Seattle Metropolitans, which were I believe, 1917 Stanley Cup champions.
1917
That's right.
Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah.
Ironically, they have more Stanley Cups than the Vancouver Canucks.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, obviously a different franchise.
Yes.
Way back then, but yeah. So the S is kind of a nod to the Metropolitans. Yeah, I mean, just looking at their jerseys now, they kind of have a Mississauga St. Michael's Majors kind of color scheme to them,
It was also I was reading these comments on Twitter and read this article. People were saying kind of like the Tennessee Titans color schemes, or similar to the Titans. Yeah, but I do like it. I like that it is, and it's more user friendly, or it's definitely a younger. You're definitely going to get a younger generation with that color scheme. Bright. It's something bright, right? Instead of your typical blues or your typical one color team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't call them just the blue team.
Right.
They seem to be a few colors mixed in.
Yeah, that's right.
Like you think of the New Jersey Devils, you just think of just red. You think of the Leafs, you think of blue. This team has a handful of colors mixed into it. Right. Different tinges of colors. I like it.
Yeah.
Release the Krakens. First overall pick will be
the Kraken. Yeah.
The expansion draft. We should cover the expansion draft one day. What we should do, we should have a mock expansion draft.
Yeah, I just don't care enough to do a whole mock draft. I've heard some of the names, Lafreniere, is that his name?
Yeah, but he can't go. I meant sorry, yeah.
Oh, expansion draft. Gotcha. Okay, I was thinking entry draft. Yeah.
No, expansion draft. Yeah, that's more real. That's
I mean, the expansion draft's always interesting. I didn't follow it at all when they did it for Vegas.
Right.
But that's interesting because it just depends on which players are let go by certain teams, right?
Well, yes, that's right. You obviously can predict who is being protected. Your mainstay players, your core players are protected. It's the teams that get in trouble because I think you can do 10 players or you can do 7 or 6 and 4. I think you got two options: 10 or 6 and 4. So like 6 forwards, 4 defense, or like 7 forwards, 3 defense.
Okay.
Or you could just do 10, which would be you could do I don't know. Maybe this doesn't make any sense, but maybe like 9 and 1. I don't know. I think you get to pick which one you want to do. But when you have a guy that's on the verge, I don't know, an up-and-comer like a Shea Theodore, for example, pretty good player now in Vegas. Anaheim had too many defensemen.
Right.
They had Shea Theodore, Cam Fowler, Hampus Lindholm, Sammy Vatanen, and then there's another guy that's on Buffalo, Colin Miller, maybe, and then another guy. I don't know. They had like 5 or 6 really good defensemen that they just physically couldn't keep due to Ketzlaff, Perry, Jacob Silverberg. There's guys that were also no move. So the Ducks really did not enjoy that expansion draft. Yeah. So there's definitely I like it. I like the idea of it. I would hate the idea of me be the team that loses someone.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it definitely worked out for Vegas because I mean, from the start they were competing.
Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Right.
So Yeah, so that's that's always interesting to see how quickly. I think it's kind of normal for teams to take a little bit longer to kind of catch up with everybody else, but be interesting to see how that goes. Because I mean, Seattle, their first season will be 2021, right? Like fall 2021 is when we should expect them to
fall. Yep,
get started.
fall,
Yeah,
winter, due to whenever they can get this back to normal.
right.
Like their typical September start for preseason.
Yeah.
Like next year they're not due until November, December. So every year they're going to try to push it back a couple weeks to get closer and closer to normal. I guess quote unquote normal.
Yeah, and so I wanted to shift gears here to a season that is just finished up on Sunday, the Premier League.
Yes.
The final day happened Sunday with all the teams playing at the same time Sunday. And Chelsea and Manchester United are the third and fourth teams. Both won their games by a score of 2-0. Chelsea beating Wolverhampton, and Manchester United.
Now, what do you think of that Chelsea lineup?
Yeah, I mean it's a good lineup. I like it. They first played it in their FA Cup against Manchester United. They played great. Didn't do so well against Liverpool, but I'm glad they stayed with it. And kind of a gutsy move by Lampard to start Caballero at keeper, and not Kepa, who's the most expensive goalkeeper in the entire league.
Isn't that crazy?
It's also probably one of the worst.
That was like it got trending so fast.
Yeah.
So like you could not, if you didn't follow soccer, you knew it was happening. Yeah. That match meant nothing in the long run, technically, as Leicester City still lost, right? Like in hindsight, hindsight 2020,
technically
they could have lost that match and still held on to the 4th seed. But brave, it was, like I said, for a first-year manager in Lampard, it's a big step.
Yeah, I think that was the right move. I think it was a mistake to go back to Kepa in the game against Liverpool, but I also understand, he's technically your starter. He's getting paid all this money,
Yeah.
So I definitely understand going back to him, but he just had a really bad season this year, and so it'll be interesting to see Chelsea will probably look to replace him in the off season. But I'm glad, they were able to pull off the win, even though they technically didn't need the win with Manchester United winning as well. It's good just to finish, with a tied record with Man U, even though Man U is ahead on goal differential.
Yeah.
It's good to at least, be tied in points with them heading into next season and Champions League football. So, pretty exciting. They also did say this week when the new Premier League season will be starting, and that'll be September 12th, I believe.
Nice.
So, pretty quick turnaround.
It is a quick turnaround. Now, Premier normally doesn't have a very long off season to begin with, but this is abnormally. It's quicker than normal. That's for sure.
It is, and the other thing to keep in mind is the Champions League is still going on.
That's right.
So you've still got technically Chelsea's still in Champions League, but they lost their first game against Bayern 3-0, so they're probably going to be out pretty soon. But then Manchester City is also in Champions League, and they could do some damage. They could go pretty far in it. So I think we're talking when the Champions League final actually ends, we're talking, late August.
Yeah.
You're only going to have a couple of weeks before the start of the Premier League season. And the same goes for Manchester United and Wolves, who are both in the Europa League.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the same issue. If they end up getting all the way to the final or going deep, they're also going to have a very short turnaround. So, yeah, I mean, this is what, this kind of what it's a tough decision because you don't want to delay it too much longer just because you want to get back to normal as soon as possible.
Try to get on your normal routine because really that's now your new season's only delayed by a month, I guess, right?
Yeah, probably about a month.
Because normally you'd be looking at mid-August for
August 8th, I think, would have been the start. Yeah,
right. So really, you're getting close to the beginning, right?
Sorry, what was that? You're starting to cut out a little bit.
Like really, you were able to you weren't able to delay your season as much long term, which is nice compared to a lot of the other major league sports.
Yeah, that's true. But still pretty tough, pretty quick turnaround, especially for those teams that'll be that might be going deep here in the European leagues, the Champions League and the Europa League.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty awesome if you're a fan. You don't have to wait too long to start watching more soccer. So
just watch Man U get beat up. Man U beat up more. I like it.
Yep. So we'll see how next season goes. Obviously, Chelsea, they're going to have to figure out their goalkeeper situation. They're going to have to figure out their defense, try to shore that up. But they've got some really good forward-looking players, Werner and Ziyech, and possibly Kai Havertz being added to the squad, which will to an already pretty strong team offensively. Definitely with some very quality young players in the squad already.
We see what they do. They definitely take see if they can compete for that title, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's definitely possible. It's not like you're not everything goes their way. You're looking at probably the strongest team in the league.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's always tough to know how teams are going to gel together. And some of these players moving from lower leagues like the Bundesliga or the Dutch league moving over to the Premier League, it's a totally different world. So you have to adjust.
Right.
We'll see how they do. On paper, they look very strong, but as we all know, as the old cliche goes, the games aren't played on paper.
No, not.
But anyway,
yep.
It'll be exciting to watch that starting up pretty soon. So I want to talk a little bit about the NHL. The final rosters have been released. We're into phase 4 now. Exhibition games. The Toronto Maple Leafs have their first exhibition game tomorrow night.
Against the non-playoff team Habitants, the invitees.
Yeah, the team that's hoping that they lose so they can get the first overall pick.
For the most part, right?
Yeah. But so I mean, we're finally going to be able to watch some hockey here. I was looking at the Leafs final roster that they'll be entering the bubble with. Some surprises on the roster, Mr. Nick, and one is our boy Nick Robertson playing on the third line in practice. What are your thoughts?
I like it. So I like Pierre Engvall. One, I like Pierre Engvall. I like him as a player.
Yeah.
I I love Frederick Gauthier as a player, but realistically, you got to go how this last lineup that I read today's practice was your typical top six. No need to go over the top six. It was Mikheyev with Tavares and Marner, Nylander, Matthews, and Hyman. Mm-hmm. Right. And then I like the bottom six. You got Robertson on the wing with Kapanen and Kerfoot, and then your fourth line of Spezza, Clifford, and Pierre Emgall, and then Gauthier playing with Patan as your two guys on the verge. Extras, which I like it. Realistically, you add that third line as you can call that's a pretty good second line on most teams, in my opinion. Yeah, Kapanen is very responsibly defensively. Mm-hmm. Tough player to play against. He's not like he's soft. Right. He's tough. Mm-hmm. No, he's not Brad Marchand tough, but he's still tough. He's fast. Mm-hmm. And then you got Kerfoot, good as a center. Mm-hmm. And then you got ideally your sniper on that lineup is Nick Robertson, who is tough. He's another Hyman with goal scoring abilities. He's Hyman. He's almost Hyman-like with the better shot.
That's true.
I personally like, and then you got your typical fourth line that can still chip in goals. Pierre Emgall's a great skater, a fantastic skater. Spezza can still skate, and then you got tough guy Clifford, who's actually plays well. I think this is your best top fourth lines. This is your most skilled lineup. If you want to go skill and properly playing each other's roles.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I totally agree. I'm very excited about those forward lines. Very excited to see what Mikheyev does, after him being out for most of the season.
MVP.
Getting him back and then having him play alongside Tavares and Marner, he should do a lot of damage on that wing.
I guess his skating is better than it was when he came over. So they always the going saying Russians or European players come over and they got to learn the smaller ice, and it takes time to adjust, which I'm sure it would. Mikheyev actually got off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, he did.
Unfortunately, severed a tendon. Mm-hmm. He was bouncing between the third and second line, or third and first line, whatever you want to call it. Third and line 1A, 1B. But he looks like every video I saw of him online in phase 3 with the team looked unreal. Well, he's MVP. He was MVP of phase 3 for the Leafs. The writers voted on who they thought the best player was, and they gave it to Mikheyev. Yeah, I guess his skating is unreal.
Yeah, that's awesome. So should be good to see those forwards go. And then as far as the defense is concerned, kind of what we're expecting is Morgan Riley, Cody Ceci, and then Jake Muzzin and Justin Hall on the second pairing, and then Travis Dermott and Tyson Barrie. That third line will kind of be your tilt the ice kind of zone starts in the forward zone. They'll hopefully get those. But yeah, kind of what we're expecting there.
Like how I'm approaching this restart. I look at it as we're looking at August 2nd for the Leafs' first game. So really,
August 1st.
But the Leafs don't play till August 2nd.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that's right.
This is a whole new season, really. They haven't played since March. If they actually treated that time as an off season, some players come back. Some players could have, like Tyson Barrie, have a bad season last year and have back to his normal season this year. So if they approached it with the mindset of this is a whole new season, what I did last year or what I did for the months of September or October till March, and now I'm going to take this as a whole new opportunity.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting because that pairing of Dermott and Barry really could tilt the ice, like you said. They're both pretty good. Well, they're really good puck movers. And if Dermott can actually take that step that we all expect him or hope him to do as a second-round pick, and Muzzin and Hall keep playing like they did last year, all you really need to do is Riley hope he comes back to the Riley of finishing fourth in Norris voting a season ago. Right? If he is that guy, he was playing with two injured, or he played with a nagging injury all year until he broke his foot. So then he played with two injuries, and now he's out. And now he's back supposedly 100%. So if he's the guy that played at least top 5, I think he finished fourth in that year, Norris voting. So I don't know. I'm not saying we're the St. Louis Blues of defense or the Boston Bruins of defense. Everyone knows that's Toronto's woes. And if you're trying to tell you it's not, you're lying to yourself.
Yep.
But hopefully with the pace of play, your system, like what Sheldon Keefe's got set up, it'd be interesting to see if they can at least just be more responsible of getting the puck out of your zone.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't stop a rush, that's your players. But you can proper system can help clear the puck pretty good.
Yeah, and the one kind of disappointment about the defense is Cody Ceci.
Yes.
In a perfect world, I would love to see Rasmus Sandin get slotted in instead of Ceci, but this is CC's got the $4 million contract. He's the veteran. They're going to go with him every time, even though, I think Sandin is the better player.
I think he's in there not because of his contract, because that doesn't affect it, right? There's no cap in the playoffs. Yeah. I think he's truly in there because he's the veteran. They want some sort of, and he's a bigger body. Hopefully the body. It's kind of how Marincin just does not go away. It's the big body, the long reach. I think mainly Sandin's not in there because he didn't get enough NHL experience under his belt. I bet me saying that sounds very contradictory to Nick Robertson, who has 0 NHL experience under his belt.
Yeah, that's right. I think also – sorry, go ahead.
No, just defense versus forward, though.
Yeah.
A defense you definitely takes time to grow as a player. Forward, you can definitely just hit the ground running for the most part, as per what history would say.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also wonder if it factors into it. I mean, the reason why I did mention the contract is because, Kyle Dubas, went out of his way to get CC to sign him to that contract. Obviously, Dubas didn't just sign him so he could sit on the bench. He thought that he could contribute. So I wonder if part of it is, Kyle Dubas saying, you have to give him a chance, let him play it out. Let's see what he can do. He did sign
him to that contract, but he traded Nikita Zaitsev in his term to the Sens. So Connor Brown and Nikita Zaitsev went to the Sens for Cody Ceci.
Yeah, basically.
And a couple other players, Ben, I don't know, it doesn't matter. A couple American League hockey players. But then they went to arbitration, or they signed before arbitration to that deal. So you're right. Dubas did sign him to that 1-year deal before arbitration.
Yeah.
But CC ain't getting that money next year, regardless of what team he plays for.
Yes, that's true.
He's on the verge of playing for $1 million somewhere. if that, right?
Yeah, and I guess, at any point, Sheldon Keefe can switch him with Sandine.
Lilligren.
Yeah, or Lilligren or Marinson, which hopefully
Rosen.
not Marinson. Yeah.
You know what? I want to see what Rosen's got.
Yeah, he actually looked pretty good in his time
did.
this season. Yeah.
I thought he did.
Yeah, so we're excited. I'm excited to see Matthews go out there and kill it.
Yeah.
You know, it just, I'm sure he's got a bit of fire under his butt after just barely missing out on 50 goals and
he has a verge. This team, I don't know. I'm just excited to see him go back out there. Yeah. They're going to be fast. I hope they're a fast-moving team. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, and I was listening to the 31 Thoughts podcast with Jeff Merrick and Elliot Friedman, and they're talking about the series. And Jeff Merrick described it as, the Leafs will need, to get 3 goals every game. That's their goal, to go out there, score 3 goals, that they should be good. It'll be one of those where, they're not going to be, it's not going to be, like if it is a low scoring series, that's playing into the Jackets' favor. So you want to go out there, like gangbusters. You want to get goals and, early and often. So,
and you really need Frederik Andersen. You really need Frederik Andersen. He doesn't stand on his head. You just need him to stop that important puck.
That's right.
I know there's times where you're tied 2-2, Toronto's having trouble scoring, and if you let in a soft one, or if you've battled down 3, you're down 3-1, you're able to tie it 3-3, you can't let that next one in.
Yeah.
That's all you need Andersen to do. You don't need Andersen to be Patrick Waugh, Carey Price of those days of him standing on his head. You don't need him that. This series you don't. This is the series you just need him to make that big save.
Yeah.
Don't let in that goal that makes you bleed.
Yeah, that's right.
Stop the bleeding. At least against Columbus.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So as you can tell, we're a little bit excited about playoff hockey starting up here, and
tomorrow night exhibition.
So exhibition game tomorrow night, and then Sunday, Leafs get things started. So go Leafs, go!
Beautiful. Go right. Leafs, go!
So just before we sign off here, Nick, I wanted to express my condolences. There it is. There's the beautiful. Wait, can you flip it again? I think we. There it is. Yeah. Just beautiful. And then watching the Blue Jays game. Attaboy.
Yippers.
So I just wanted to express my condolences to Toronto FC losing in the MLS Is Back tournament, the round of 16 to New York City FC, 3-1. Any thoughts on that performance, Nick?
Well, it was a bad game. I watched. I didn't get to watch the game itself. I got to watch the game in 30. Wow. They just didn't play. They played as a team that hadn't played together at all.
Right.
Altidore didn't get in. Didn't get enough time in with the team. They played as going in as a favorite, especially losing. They were going in as a favorite. There's no question about it. As one of the top dogs to win that tournament. They had really one player show up.
Yeah.
Scored all their goals for them, and that's about it.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. It's disappointing. That's for sure. I guess what's good is that, that game doesn't have any bearing on the standings.
No.
So in that, you take comfort in that. But, it would have been fun to see them compete for the cup, for whatever this trophy is, the Goofy trophy or whatever.
What's the next step? Now, what do? Someone wins this cup early August. What's MLS doing? going to go
then
back
they just finish the rest of the season normally
in every different city?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do
I
they
mean,
have a
that's the
schedule?
plan. That's the plan right now. Yeah, I don't know about a
Do they have
schedule at this point, but
right? Because
yeah, I mean,
Dallas FC sitting at home twiddling their thumbs. They haven't played since March.
I
Same with
know.
Same with Nashville, the expansion team.
I know. I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know if they're going to have to make up those games later on.
Right.
And if so, I guess they would just play each other like a bunch of games. I don't know, because all of the other teams would have been way more games than they've played so far. So,
well, really,
at least
TFC only
4
had to
more
play
games.
3. TFC
Yeah.
only played. Well, they played 4, but 3 only counted
Right. That's right. Only 3 games
to the table. Yeah. So those teams only missed 3 games, but still 3 games is better than. Well, Toronto got 4 games in. At least now when they decide to go mid-August or whatever it is, end of August, they say, okay, now Toronto plays Dallas in Dallas. Well, Dallas hasn't kicked the ball around since March 1st, and Toronto's been playing and actually playing in competitive games. How's that? I don't know. It's interesting to see what MLS does next.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. And I wonder, I mean, just kind of, it is a little concerning having, these leagues, whether it's MLB or MLS, both planning to travel to different cities. That's always a little concerning. I think the NHL and NBA have a much safer plan as far as staying in the bubble is concerned. So, there's a little concerning. I guess we'll see. I mean, with like you said, 10 people with the Marlins getting COVID, it's like, it's just not a fun situation.
It'll be interesting to see what. Yeah, does baseball get through it, or does baseball? My understanding is they're just going to power through it. It's all systems to go and next man up. Unfortunately,
that's right. All right. So anyway, it's fun times to be a sports fan. Getting sports coming quickly, and we've got the NBA starting up here in a few days. NHL, Major League Soccer is continuing, and of course Major League Baseball getting started. So getting to enjoy some of that summer baseball. So Nick, it's been wonderful as always to get to catch up with you and about a few things. And thank you guys for watching on YouTube or for listening through your favorite podcast app. As a reminder, if you are watching on YouTube, we are available on several apps, from Spotify to Apple Podcast to Google Podcast to Overcast and many others. So check us out there. You can listen to us at anytime, anywhere, wherever you're at. Thanks so much. Feel free to leave a comment, share this with your friends and family and whoever. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. If you're able, we'd love to hear from you guys. Leave a comment on YouTube or leave a comment on a review. We'd love to check that out. Hear from you guys, hear your feedback, hear what you'd like to hear, and see how we're doing. So that's always a good thing. So Nick, thanks again.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll see